Want to know Dan's secret? I'll read in the comics first.
It does not compute.
Hundreds of comics come out every week. And who are you going to call? That's right, Sweet Dan Sweet, comic book reviews.
Hi everybody, Comic Book Man here. Welcome to my video outhouse. It's time once again for
Sweet Talking with Sweet Dan Sweet and Comic Book Man and Comic Book Man's video outhouse at myalternatereality.com.
which is located at the intersection of 111th and Kedzie in beautiful downtown Mount Greenwood. Alternate reality, where all new comics are 15% off every day for everyone.
And there's parking in the back.
Parking in the back and parking on the street if you can find it. And
That's right.
and also 15% off is Superman number 700, which is on the racks right now. Which is, well, I'm going to let you talk about it. It's another jam issue.
It's a jam issue. It's sort of a horse of a different color. You get a little wrap up by Jim Robb of his travesty of a Superman epic.
Travesty?
Oh man, World of New Krypton started off promising.
Yeah.
Turned into War of the Superman, 100-minute war stuff. I wasn't feeling it. I didn't feel his characterization of Superman off planet or anything like that. So what he does is he starts the book off reuniting Clark and Lois. Do a little throwdown with the Parasite, and it felt really empty, really stale, sort of like going through the motions, sort of like he wanted to be a part of issue 700, so he had this little story. Bernard Chang illustrated it. He is phenomenal.
Yeah.
He needs something that's a bit more visually captivating than Superman.
A very nice splash page in there of Superman and Lois in the city.
Yeah,
flying over the city.
He's a really, really good artist, and I really like his looks. So that sort of carried Jim Robb's stuff through that. After that, you get a Dan Jurgens piece. Dan Jurgens, who wrote and illustrated the title for a while by himself.
Quite a while, yeah.
He writes and then does layouts, but he does not illustrate. Norm Ratman does the finishes on sort of a retelling of the Superman-Robin first meeting, which you've read a dozen times, and I've never read it before, so this is probably why they keep reading it.
Well, they've done this story before. This is just yet another version of it.
Really fun.
Well, it's okay.
It was really fun though. Yeah. That was probably the highlight of the book for me in terms of the 3 Superman pieces. You get a great little foiled caper by some gun runners. A lot of good humor at the end. Superman does Dick Grayson's math homework, and then tricks Batman into thinking that Dick did it. But then Batman.
Don't give it away.
Well,
don't give it away.
It's really good. I really enjoyed it. I laughed out loud a couple times there at the end, so I'm all about that. After that, you get Straczynski. Straczynski's coming on the book, and he's doing his grounded storyline.
And this is the setup. This is the preface. This is everything that gets you ready for...
The slap heard round the world.
Yes, the slap heard round the world, which sets up Grounded, which is going to be the big event for this year, which has gotten all sorts of publicity.
And I got to be honest, I kind of think the slap heard round the world sort of went more with a whimper.
Whimper?
It's a lady hitting Superman in the face, blaming him for not saving her husband from brain cancer.
Yeah. Well, the interesting...
He's Superman.
Well, no, the interesting thing about this, and we're going to talk a little bit about this. The interesting thing about that is, and you please, it's your, this is your show. Disagree with me.
I'm listening.
She's not pissed off at Superman because of all the carnage and devastation and death and destruction that happened during the Kryptonian Earth War. She's pissed off at him because he was busy doing all that stuff when he could have been in the hospital room with her husband using his X-ray vision or telescopic vision or microscopic vision, to aid in the surgery, which would have saved her husband. But he wasn't around to do that because he was busy being off-world, being
Superman.
in the 100-minute war. No, Kal-El.
Yeah,
Kal-El,
which is Superman.
Which is sort of the point behind what Straczynski's setting up here. He was off-world being Kal-El, not being on Earth being Superman, and so her husband died, and so she blames him. And he takes this to heart.
Yeah.
He takes this
way to heart.
Way to heart. And over the next year, what you're going to have is Superman trying to figure out what it means to be Clark Kent, but the odd thing is he's going to be doing it as Superman in full costume, walking cross country. You're basically going to find out what it's like to be a human, where he spent the last year figuring out what it was like to be Kal-El.
I'm getting a Superman as Jesus Christ vibe from it.
Really?
I am. No, honestly, and I'm not, take that however you want it. I'm not bashing it. I'm not knocking it. I'm going to read it. I'm excited about it.
Actually, the thing that I've heard from most people is it sounds like Forrest Gump. Seriously.
All right.
Going cross country.
Superman as Jesus doing Forrest
Gump.
But no, seriously, I think the opening is kind of weak.
Okay.
I'm excited for it. I think Eddie Barrows, who illustrates it, phenomenal artist. Really just knocks Superman out the park with his pencils and everything. So I'm really excited about that. There's one last part to this book.
Okay.
It's not really a comic. It's a threefold preview of Action Comics, Supergirl, and the new Superboy series.
Right.
Supergirl is still Sterling Gates and Jamal Igle. If you liked what they've been doing, they're going to do some more stuff like what they've been doing, and they're going to introduce a Bizarro Supergirl. If you don't like what they've been doing, whatever.
You probably might not like pick up that book.
Paul Cornell, a recent DC acquirement from Marvel, is doing Action Comics.
Right.
All about Lex Luthor.
Yeah, Lex Luthor's taking over Action for its last 10 issues.
10 issues, 12 issues.
Until it hits 800.
And that is going to be illustrated by Pete Woods. That looks incredible. His art is looking more and more like Tony Harris's all the time. And it's a Lex Luthor story, so that's going to be great. Jeff Lemire, creator of Sweet Tooth, is doing a Superboy series about Connor Kent.
Looks really interesting. Set
in Smallville. And if you don't know who Jeff Lemire is, if you've never read Sweet Tooth, he writes about small town folk. He did the Essex County trilogy.
Very good.
And then he created Sweet Tooth for Vertigo.
Right.
I really enjoy it. I really enjoy his take on it. I'm kind of curious how much trouble there is in Smallville for Superboy to get into.
Yeah.
But I'm going to give it a shot nonetheless. So that almost had me jazzed up more than the 3 stories that were in there. Honestly, a Lex Luthor comic book is awesome, so I'm all about that. So I say get 700. It's a lot of fun. The Dan Jurgens story totally makes it worth it. Eddie Barrow's art, Bernard Chang's art.
And as we said, it's the kicking off point for Grounded.
That's right.
Which David Letterman was talking about this week. Which
Really?
was there was a whole thing about Letterman. Letterman did a whole thing where he said, "Oh, Superman's walking across country right, and he fixed the oil spill." Which is an easy shot. But it's been mentioned in other media outlets too.
Superman movie where Superman blows an oil leak back into the boat?
Superman 3, yeah. Superman
yeah,
3.
you said that with such disdain. It's like, let's revisit that in the comics and see.
What can I tell you? It was Superman 3. But anyway, so yeah, pick it up.
Absolutely.
So that's it. We're done. We're finished. We're out of here. But you can read more of Dan's reviews at the store's website, and there's hundreds of them, thousands of millions of them there.
Yeah, that's a lot of comics.
And where's the store's website at? Sarah.
Well, what do you want on this budget? www.myalternatereality.com.
So, stop off at the store's website, check out all his reviews, and until next time, this is Comic Book Man.
This is Sweet Dan Sweet from down the street.
Saying, bye!